Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
Have you ever wondered why your smartphone? It just feels slower and it fills up so quickly, even when the hardware, you know, it should be perfectly
Yeah,
capable.
it's a mystery that, yeah, definitely hits close to home for a lot of people.
Right. Well, today we're diving deep into excerpts from Bloatware's Burden, Samsung, Google, and Customer Trust.
Mhm.
Our mission in this deep dive is really to uncover this invisible tug of war between the big tech giants
Mhm.
and how it's directly impacting your device, shaping customer loyalty and even long-term business reputations. You're probably constantly fighting for space, maybe deleting photos just for system updates you didn't even ask for.
That exact scenario, it's incredibly common.
Okay, let's unpack this. So our sources jump right in with this term, bloatware.
Mhm.
Many listeners probably recognize it, but can you explain what that actually is and why is it such a significant pain point? What did the research find?
Sure. So bloatware refers to those pre-installed apps, the ones that come on your phone out of the box. They consume space, they use resources, but honestly, they often offer pretty questionable value to the user. And yeah, it's a huge problem. What's really fascinating, or maybe alarming, is the scale. Get this. 78% of budget smartphone users called these unremovable apps a major pain point.
Wow, 78%,
Yeah, and 64% said they'd actually consider switching brands just because of it.
that high, just for pre-installed apps.
It shows it's not just some minor tech annoyance, right? It's a direct hit to customer satisfaction. We even heard from one customer who said, now I'm constantly deleting photos of my kids just to make room for these forced updates I don't even understand.
Oof, that's powerful. It really paints a picture of the frustration. So this sets up a really critical question. What does this sort of corporate clash actually mean for the phone in your pocket? Day-to-day performance, the sources call it a battlefield. What does that actually look like for someone using the phone?
Yeah, battlefield is a good word for it. You turn on the phone, right? You're prompted for a Samsung account. Okay. Then, immediately after, a Google account. This often leads to having two different app
Right,
stores.
the Galaxy Store and the Play Store.
Exactly. Two cloud systems, Samsung Cloud, Google Drive, maybe even two voice assistants, Bixby and Google Assistant. They're all competing, sometimes aggressively, for your phone's limited resources: the storage, the RAM, the battery.
And I guess that's especially tough on budget phones.
Absolutely debilitating. Think about a typical, say, 64 GB budget Samsung phone. It arrives, but you don't actually get 64 GB. After the operating system, the OS, you're maybe looking at 48 GB usable.
Okay.
Then Google's essential apps and services, that takes up about another 3 GB. Samsung's own suite, maybe another 5 GB. So do the math. That's nearly 17% of the storage you thought you had gone before you even download your first app.
17%. Why?
And it gets worse. Consider something like Google Play Services. It's essential, runs in the background. It can start at 100 millib, but easily balloon to over 500 millib over time.
Just for background stuff.
Just background stuff. So when something so fundamental and often invisible eats that much space, you have to ask, who is this really serving? Especially when the data shows 92% of pre-installed apps are never even used beyond the first month.
92%. That's staggering.
It is. And we're seeing the fallout. Customer support calls about storage issues, up 47% year over year. And when people mention bloatware in app reviews, the average rating for the phone drops by a whole 1.7 stars.
That's a massive drop. So it's not just like a slow phone.
Yeah.
It feels like a breach of trust, doesn't it?
Exactly.
And here's maybe the key point from the sources.
Yeah,
This isn't some accident or oversight. It's strategic. It's a battle.
precisely. Google gives Android away, essentially for free, to manufacturers. Why? Because it wants its services, search, maps, Play Store as the defaults. It wants to own that mobile experience. But then you have Samsung. They invest billions developing their own ecosystem, their own apps, their own services, even their own OS attempts like Tizen. They want to reduce their dependency on Google.
Ah,
So what you end up with isn't just bloatware. It's these two massive corporations, effectively, like time-sharing your device, each pulling it towards their own ecosystem.
time sharing your phone. That's a really interesting way to put it. It explains why things can feel so fractured
Yeah.
sometimes. So if we connect this to the bigger picture, how does this Samsung Google dual ecosystem thing compare to, say, Apple? What's the user impact?
Well, the contrast with Apple is pretty stark, isn't it? Apple controls the whole stack, the hardware and the software, iOS. That unified approach generally results in a much more cohesive, often smoother user experience. There's one app store, one cloud system, one voice assistant.
Right.
We heard from one user, Lisa, who switched to an iPhone SE. She said, and I'm paraphrasing slightly. My old Samsung actually had more RAM and storage on paper, but my iPhone just works. It doesn't feel like it's being pulled in two directions all the time.
That makes sense. And who feels this burden the most?
It really falls hardest on those least able to bear it, you know? Budget phone users. They tend to keep their devices longer. They might have less technical know-how to constantly manage storage or disable apps. Like Robbie, a student mentioned in the sources, he just said, "My phone keeps telling me there's no space left. I've barely installed any apps myself." It's that simple, that frustrating.
Yeah, that really drives it home. This whole situation, it feels like a really powerful cautionary tale, maybe for all kinds of businesses.
Oh, absolutely it is. It's a classic example of how companies can drift away from being truly customer-centric when market share and ecosystem control become the main goals, because real sustainable business success, it doesn't come from forcing your way onto someone's device. It comes from earning the right to be there by offering something genuinely valuable and seamless.
So bringing it all together then, this bloatware burden, it's clearly more than just annoying slowdowns on our phones.
Much more.
It feels like a symptom of something deeper, doesn't it? Maybe around corporate responsibility, around trust. It really begs the question, when a company's actions seem to prioritize their own ecosystem battles over the actual daily experience of their customers, especially their most vulnerable customers, what's the long-term price they pay? In loyalty, in brand perception, definitely something to think about.